champion, ladies and gentlemen.
Live coverage of the 2022 Academy Sports and Outdoors Bassmaster Classic presented by Hook is sponsored by Power Pole.
Big Bass, big stage, big dreams, and big crowds at our takeoff every single day this week. Green Pond Landing, legendary Green Pond Landing. You want to know how legendary this facility is? I'll let you a little insider scoop here. So many people showed up yesterday. We had some parking troubles. During the weigh-in yesterday, the folks over there put in an extra road, an actual road during the weigh-in, and we had no parking troubles today. You want to talk about a legendary venue. Green Pond has really put out, and so has Lake Hartwell. What an incredible leaderboard. Look at those names and what stories we have going into Championship Sunday. The quest is to stay in the top 25 to keep your tournament alive. And man, I'll tell you what's alive and well, and it is the Outdoor Expo presented by Marathon. I'm joined by the Stat Rat, Ronnie Moore, and of course, the Bassmaster Classic champion, two-time Angler of the Year, and really he's the reason we're here. Davey Height.
Absolutely incredible this morning at takeoff, and for them to build a road, are you kidding me, to build a road overnight? But here's the other thing. They have closed down some roads coming in here. I think they've just opened them back up, but a couple hours ago they had to close down the roads literally coming in here. Absolutely my favorite place. You know, I was concerned. It's the fourth time to the Bassmaster Classic, but people keep showing up. The fishing has gotten better and better, Ronnie.
It's like a vehicular stampede in Greenville this week with how much traffic there is. But the fishing on the water, very excited about that because every single day, this hour or two period that we're about to come upon, there's going to be some big movement, and someone's going to come from 15th, 16th, and they're going to put their name in the top 5.
A vehicular stampede.
You like that? I didn't mess that up either.
Well, let's talk about what's going on the water with our Toyota Midday Report to catch you up to the goings-on here on the second day of the 2022 Bassmaster Classic. Your Toyota Midday Report, and we'll start it with his first ever Classic appearance, a former San Francisco Giant draft pick, Mark Frazier, showing that he knows how to fish.
Yeah, a lot of people knew coming in, including Ronnie Moore, he does all the stats, no doubt, that Mark Frazier is no rookie to Lake Hartwell. He's got a lot of experience here, and he has shown that. He's actually helped out one of our other top contenders there with Stetson Blaylock, kind of put him on what he's doing. It's just absolutely incredible. Both of these guys have been catching fish. A lot of them on a crankbait, but this morning Mark Frazier changed up a little bit. I think the clouds affected him a little bit, caught his fish. A lot of them on a jerkbait this morning, but they have been reeling a crankbait, a red crankbait, really fast, catching a lot of their fish in previous days.
That's one thing that's interesting, and it sounds like a Lake Lanier, a West Point thing that they do down in Georgia, not far from here. Similar fishery, but they really are able to get on that because everyone is thinking ultra deep or up in the dirt this week.
Oh, good googly moogly. Could you imagine how exciting it would be to have Steve Kennedy in our top 10 going into Championship Sunday?
Steve Kennedy, one of those veteran elite anglers that has won several blue trophies. He's done it pretty much all. You know, he's fished several different major tournament trails through the years. He's been around for so long. Got to be a fan favorite by far, one of the biggest fan favorites. Steve Kennedy has done a good job, and he knows how to turn up the volume, so to speak, in the Bassmaster Classic. It seems like every year. Last year, he certainly had his chance, lost a big fish on the final day that would have won it for him, in my opinion. But Steve Kennedy is somebody that will be in the hunt come Sunday.
On to another veteran pro, the Hack Attack. Greg Hackney wants that title as well.
When you think about his pattern, Davey, it's the most random thing in my mind. Like, how is Greg Hackney going to win a Classic? And it's not with a jerkbait, a spinning rod, and a lipless, but he may just this week dedicated himself to that plan, which seems consistent compared to selling out for maybe jig bites all day long.
Yeah, Greg Hackney, and we're going to talk about Jason Christie here in a minute, but those two anglers have done so much, and they're two of the most popular anglers in the whole world when you talk about tournament bass fishing. But Greg Hackney has that special, let's say, turn it up one more time. He wants to win that trophy so bad, and you can see a different focus in him here this week. But I'm like you, a spinning rod in Greg Hackney's hand to help him win a Bassmaster Classic.
What's crazy is that I said, what's different about you in your 16th Classic, Greg? And he said, I'm actually happy and enjoying this one, unlike the other 15 I was trying to win. So serious.
Well, speaking of happy, what a career this young star has had. 4 wins already, Patrick Walters.
Yeah, Patrick Walters has been on Bass Live and now live at the Bassmaster Classic. Like every show we do is Patrick Walters is in the mix. Several wins. He's got an open win right here on Lake Hartwell. A lot of history here. A big key to his win on Lake Hartwell, the open win, was using his forward-facing sonar, but figuring out what it took to trick these fish that are so heavily pressured. And he's been mixing it up a lot. I heard him this morning say, okay, I got it figured out. He was struggling, only catching small fish. But Patrick Walters is someone we always seem to be talking about on Championship Sunday, whether it's the Bassmaster Classic or the Bassmaster Elite Series.
Well, I don't care who you're cheering for. There is not a Bassmaster fan in the world that would not love to see Gerald Swindle take this title.
Yeah, absolutely. Gerald Swindle's 19th Bassmaster Classic. And I guess I've either competed against him or watched him fish in every single one of them. I've never seen him as kind of like a Greg Hackney. You see him doing a lot of different things, which he does mix it up on the trail, but he's fishing so different. You see those boat docks that he loves so much, and he said, I need to stay away from them. I need to fish a little deeper. I think those fish will be more consistent.
He's so lovable that I had to tell on myself yesterday and said, Gerald, you proved me wrong. I took you off my team because I thought you were fishing conservative. I thought you were fishing for quantity, not quality. I said, I'm sorry. When I saw you catch that 5+ pounder, I knew you were in it to win it. You had it dialed in.
It just got real on Fox, baby. Woo!
Real indeed.
Come on.
That's the kind of fish you have to stay in contention. One of those every day will give you a chance to win the Bassmaster Classic.
Well, don't count out Stone Cold Kyle Welcher because, man, that is his attitude. He is very focused and driven since the first day I've met him.
Yeah, it's really incredible. We've talked about the last few anglers here, and they were all mixing it up, fishing a little deeper, fishing a lot of different baits. But yesterday's, the day one leader, Brian New, was like, I'm all in on shallow boat docks and a jig, mix it up a little bit with a swim bait. But you can see the people that are really mixing it up, fishing some shallow, some deep, staying away from those boat docks a little more, are the ones that we're talking about here that are in the top 10.
What's absolutely incredible is how in a 4-day Elite Series event, a guy can get on a pattern or a spot and run it for 4 days. And in the Classic, even under pristine conditions, here one day, gone the next. So the guys who can make it 2 or 3 days are the guys. And for right now, 20 pounds yesterday, great for Brian New, but off that pace today, can he get back in the groove the last 3 hours, Dave?
I'll have to say this. Brian New had a lot of pressure on him this morning going out leading the Bassmaster Classic, being relatively new to the Bassmaster Tournament Trail and the big picture of things when you talk about the Christies, the Hackneys, the Swindles. He handled it well, got off to a bad start, according to his measures, I'm sure, but he switched it up a little bit, started fishing a little deeper, put a few spots in the boat. You see him here with his spinner rod in his hand to calm things down, to live for another day. He's certainly got a chance to win this thing now. He made that move that yesterday he said, I will not change. I'm going to stay shallow with those boat docks. Good for him that he made that adjustment.
Stetson Blaylock, an Elite Series champion, and once again in the mix here this week.
This kind of reminds him, he said it a little bit, but this is like a Lake Ouachita and a Lake Hamilton together. The way that Hartwell fishes, you can get off the bank and fish way out in the open like you do at Ouachita, or you can go fish boat docks all day long. I'm not surprised to see him do so well here, especially around March and April. A second place finish here in the Elite Series event in 2019. This is his game. He is very good with a crankbait in his hand and a spinning rod in his hand. It's a matter of time before we see him show up at the top of the leaderboard of a Classic.
Yeah, absolutely. Just another fisherman that takes this very seriously. It is the way he makes his living, supports his family, and he wants to be the best of the business. And to do that, you've got to hold that trophy up at least one time.
That's a prime Lake Hartwell spotted bass right there.
But this is the guy. This is the one where a lot of people picked him coming in, and it kind of worries me because he is leading. He's told me, I don't know if I can win a Classic going into the final day with the lead. He's gone to the final day with the lead twice, once by 5 pounds and once by 6 pounds.
Yeah, I've talked to Jason Christie quite a bit this week, primarily because of his history. He's come so close to winning 2 Classics. Like you said, had a lead in 2 different Classics and did not finish the deal. He is as serious about this and this week and him raising that trophy over his head as anybody I think I've ever met. I mean, he really is all business, and he's got a great game plan, in my opinion. You see him here starting off in these ditches, catching a few fish deep. Usually not bringing but 1 or 2 of them to the scales in the afternoon, but he gets a good solid, hey, I'm going to live for tomorrow kind of start every morning in these ditches. And then you see right here, fish is shallower around these boat docks, using a jig quite a bit. Ronnie, you were with him on a practice day. That's the Jason Christie. That's the closer that we all want to see.
And what's crazy about it, as I said, they've had mature game plans this week. Gerald Swindle, Greg Hackney, Jason Christie, mature game plans. Because as soon as rain came in, as soon as warm temperatures came in, everyone in the world said dirty water, power fishing. Those guys resisted that urge and have kept it as maybe plan C if they need it, but they have figured it out otherwise.
Really good look at our Minn Kota unlock the lake, and that gives you an idea of how our 55 anglers are spread out across this incredible body of water.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Lake Hartwell brings the people to the expos, it brings people to the takeoffs, it brings people to the weigh-ins, but to see this fishery get better and better with every classic we've been here, sure, the weather's a little better, the water temperatures are a little higher this year, but this lake is fishing great. You see that by the way you see all these anglers spread out, and here's the cool thing. There's over 700 miles of shoreline, but most of these, I'd say half these guys aren't even fishing the shoreline. They're fishing offshore, so those guys are about as spread out as you could possibly be with 55 anglers on a lake this size.
Now out live on the water with Mark Frazier, currently in 35th place, fishing his very first Bassmaster Classic. Got to move into the top 25 to make it to Championship Sunday.
Barely hooked.
I just saw that whole jerkbait outside that fish's mouth.
Boy, he's really taking his time with this fish.
I think also you don't want to lose a fish in the Classic. And I think a lot of these guys fishing real deep, though, have seen a negative effect by pulling fish up really deep, really fast. And you don't want to lose any ounces in this game. A couple said that in interviews yesterday, and I wonder if that's going into his game plan fighting fish today.
Ooh.
Oh, they ain't that big.
I don't quite understand why you get on the back of the boat like you can't reach those fish because you're up on higher on the deck than you should be. Your arm length is the same, but you're a lot closer to the fish if you get in either the driver or passenger seat there. First and foremost, he got it in the boat, so he did everything just right.
And what he did there, though, I mean, that is a perfect way to fish a jerkbait, to fight a jerkbait fish that you're worried about the way it's hooked. You see people when they start, over to Greg Hackney hooked up.
With a spinning rod.
I'm just going to let him swim around, see if nothing else come out. I mean, I guess he probably get rid of that small spot. I mean, literally, this one just swam by that big. I come up with this.
Now over to our day one leader, Brian New, and he's hooked up.
Boy, it fired up yesterday about this time. From now until time to come in, there were a lot of fish put in the boat that helped these guys wait. Doesn't look like a real big one here. Nope.
I think he'll help.
Now over to Jason Christie, our current leader.
They're live.
Davey Height, let me ask you this. All of this versatility we're seeing in this tournament, I mean, we're going to write that off to the way the lake's set up. But is there a case to be made that that versatility in having to be a fluid angler is just part of the evolution of the Bassmaster Classic? We've seen, and Christie's been a victim of it. You can't go back to the same stuff, and you have to be very fluid.
Yeah, I think you're right, and that has changed.
Everything feels good about this little pocket.
All these fishermen are.
I feel like I'm fishing behind people, and I don't know if that's true or not true, and if it matters. I mean, I know it matters, but these things slide up and down. Just don't want to be right behind somebody.
Back to what you were referring to there, Dave, I think you're exactly right. And you know, let's just say it. I think Jason Christie has looked back to the last time he fished a Classic here, and had he been a little more versatile, could have very well won that event. But when Jason just said, I feel like I'm fishing behind someone, it made me think about yesterday. We asked him after he weighed his fish, what's the best kind of dock to fish on Lake Hartwell right now? It's a great question. He said, well, there's a couple things, but first is one that somebody hasn't just fished.
Yeah.
And that's so true, because that's going on in his mind right now. You don't understand if you need to make an adjustment and fish a little deeper, fish a different bait, that sort of thing, or you just fish behind Brandon Cobb or, Greg Hackney or Gerald Swindle. So there's a lot of unknowns in this sport that keep it so interesting.
Well, and Christie got sucked into it, and he said it yesterday. I got sucked into fishing a creek of docks when I know the hot spot is maybe halfway back to the back. Like I fished too many docks that were just dead docks, and I knew they were. I just was wanting to fish them.
Everything that way is still kind of cloudy. So I may work the way around up here.
Scott Martin, we're watching him right now, and our own Robbie Floyd is with him. Robbie, what are you seeing out there?
Well, I kind of gave you a weather report, and Scott was even talking about it's kind of like a cloud line, and it's kind of cloudy on one side where the side we just came from, the sun was actually coming out. But I know y'all inside the studio and the booth and everything, you kind of don't get a feel for the weather. But things have definitely warmed up in the past 15 or 20 minutes. The sun is out. Although it's not as bright on this spot, we're going to be seeing a lot of people starting to flood to those docks. When it was colder earlier and overcast, even though they might have been catching them in docks, they're really not going to be setting up on them like they should be here now. But even Scott pointed out something about this cloud line's kind of not got the sun where he needs it to be.
So, Robbie, I'm real curious. You've been with Scott Martin for a while, and earlier he was fishing deep. He was watching those fish on his forward-facing sonar and was talking about the blueback heron that had moved in. And he said, when the clouds start to break, I'm going to probably go with my other plan, fishing shallower for largemouth. Did he just go in that same area and start fishing those shallower docks? Did he change areas of the lake?
Yeah. No, he did. He changed areas of the lake. Still mid-portion of the lake, but he ran across the other side, made a little run to a concerted effort to a certain set of docks. He went all the way into the back. He's looking around, too, and I know we all talk about it. They're going to be spawning here very soon. You could see he had those Florida peepers out looking for fish, but, again, just like so many people do, hitting these, black docks as the sun comes up. That's his target. Got a wacky rig on right now, as we've seen so often. But now that things are heating up, this is his secondary spot. He didn't, and he told me, he said he saw a lot of fish in that area still till the very end. They just, he had to give them a break. They just weren't biting at that time.
Robbie, we always harp on the first-time Classic qualifiers. Basically, 40% of our field is fishing their first Classic this year. But Scott Martin's a little bit different than the rest of those guys fishing his first Classic. Do you think this moment isn't too big for him? But, I mean, he did get a little emotional. Can he win this thing this week?
I think Scott could win this thing. And he may be a Classic rookie, but he's no rookie. He's been there, done that, seen it all, and he's got one on right now.
It's a big one, dude. Oh yeah, nice fish. It'll help. He might help. He might not even help. Hook fell out. I'm not sure he's gonna help me or not. He's skinny, long though. But the important.
Speaking of long and skinny, over to Brian Nuke. I mean, that's a compliment.
That might be a huge, like the best segue we've had today.
He's a slender, tall gentleman.
Long and lanky, yeah.
Hooked up.
I think that one will help him a little.
Just ounces at a time, though, Davey. That's the thing. We expect ounce upgrades in the morning. Once it gets past noon, you need pound upgrades if you're going to go and switch up your game plan. And that's going to cull just a little bit and put him a little bit closer to 11 pounds, but not quite there yet.
Sun is starting to shine, and the fish are clearly starting to bite. And that leaderboard is going to continue to change. The goal to stay inside the top 25. Greenville, South Carolina has been an incredible host. Our fourth Bassmaster Classic here, but Greenville and Anderson roll at the red carpet every single time. That an incredible, incredible shot of just how beautiful this part of the country is. But Brian New has his goal in one thing, the Bassmaster Classic title.
You know, there's no tournament bigger than the Bassmaster Classic. And I weighed 20 pounds on day one at Lake Hartwell, close enough to my hometown to call it my hometown. Yeah, awesome day. The money doesn't go with you. When you die, the trophies don't go with you. But what you've done with your blessings, everyone remembers. And that's what matters.
I've made my living on the water for over 20 years.